Black and gold fans, college football fans, welcome in or welcome back to the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog, where we examine, discuss, honor, and celebrate all things college football across the entire college football landscape, but with a very special emphasis on our beloved black and gold squads of the Missouri Tigers and the Iowa Hawkeyes. Welcome back, guys. Once again, I'm your usual host, Blair Parks. It's great to have you with me on the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. Today I have a very special episode for you. The regular season conference championship weekend has wrapped up. It is in the rearview mirror. Bowl games, destinations, and opponents, and the college football playoff has been announced. At this point, we know where our teams are heading, who they're going to play. But one thing that was just announced earlier this week is the official invitees for this year's Heisman Trophy Award. So today's episode, I'm going to bring you up to speed on the official Heisman Trophy standings and candidates, give you a little bit of an insight to what I think about the official invitees and participants, and then compare them to my Heisman Trophy shortlist as far as the 4 individuals that I myself would have invited to NYC for a chance to hoist the most coveted award in all of college football, and also then further compare that to the 4 individuals who I picked pre-season to be invited for the Heisman Trophy Award. And also, as an added bonus, it being my job to keep you, the college football fanatic and fan, in the know, I'm going to give you a quick update on the coaching carousel. It continues to spin, not completely out of control, especially compared to last offseason, but I'm going to give you an update on the coaching carousel, who has been terminated, who has moved here, who has moved there, and what teams currently are without a coach. There are a couple of those. So definitely want to stay tuned for this episode. That's what's on tap. But as usual, before I continue, I need to express my gratitude, my thanks for everything that you have done for the channel and will continue to do. Without you, none of this is possible. Everything is trending in the right direction. Subscriptions, comments, shares, everything is going the way of the Black and Gold vlog, where you don't have to be a Black and Gold fan to enjoy. Because, hey, once again, I forgive you. Nobody's perfect. This is a safe haven and a gathering point for all college football fans. You are all welcome here. And as I tell you each and every episode, guys and girls, that you, the viewer, the college football fandom universe, you are the ones who are responsible to drive these episodes. I always encourage and welcome and want any feedback, any participation, comments, critiques, positive, negative. I just ask that when you comment to please keep it adult-like. We all know the golden rule, and I promise you that I will, sooner than later, respond to each and every one of you individually to your comments. So please, thank you for everything you do. We do need to keep a good thing going. Right now, Big Mo is on our side. So please, if you like what you see and what you hear, please click the subscribe button. Tell your fellow college football fans, your coworkers, friends, family to check me out here on the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. The more college football fans we have in our corner, the better. There's safety in numbers. And let's make it our job, let's make it our priority to find more college football fans just like you. And regardless, during my Heisman Trophy talk, I just want all of you to know, all of you subscribers of the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog, you are my personal Heisman Trophy winners. So thank you for all you've done. So without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and get into it. All right. So earlier this week, the Heisman Trophy Committee, the Downtown Athletic Club in NYC, did announce their 4 official invites to New York City for an opportunity to hoist the Heisman Trophy for this year's celebration. And the official invitees are, in alphabetical order, Georgia quarterback Stetson Bennett, TCU quarterback Max Duggan, Ohio State quarterback C.J. Stroud, and last but not least, USC quarterback Caleb Williams, formerly of Oklahoma under Coach Lincoln Riley. Bleh. I do my own stunts here, guys, on the channel. Former Coach Lincoln Riley, also formerly of Oklahoma, there in Los Angeles. So those are your 4 official Heisman Trophy finalists. Now, I'll get back to what I believe, if I think the committee got this right or wrong. But next, I want to go ahead and share with you what my Heisman Trophy shortlist was. If it was up to me, these are the 4 individuals that I myself would have invited to NYC at a chance to win the coveted trophy. They are also, in alphabetical order, I still have Michigan running back Blake Corum, TCU quarterback Max Duggan, Tennessee quarterback Hendon Hooker, and USC quarterback Caleb Williams. That was my short list of Heisman Trophy invitees. And I'm going to kind of go in depth to what I think. Why do I think and believe that those 4 should have been invited over the current 4, or the official 4 that I should say. But before I say anything more, what an opportunity for those 4 official invitees to join college football history, to be on the precipice, to put themselves in the record books, to join such a coveted group, a small group of Heisman Trophy winners. And like always, one thing, because you know me from watching my current episodes, that I am a historian. I always like to pay homage to the past, those who have come before us, and what they have set out, and they've laid the foundation for us. So nobody expresses, to me anyway, no one expresses the joy and the sheer humility of winning the Heisman Trophy better than 1939 winner, Iowa's very own Niall Kinnick, with his acceptance speech. Take it away, Niall.
Finally, if you will permit me, I'd like to make a comment which in my mind is indicative perhaps of the greater significance
timeless
of football
words.
and sports emphasis in general in this country, and that is, I thank God I was warring on the gridirons of the Midwest and not on the battlefields of Europe.
Timeless words from a timeless legend, the one and only Niall Kinnick. So, the official 4. Now, when I look at these 4 individuals and what they've accomplished, I'll say this right out of the gate, guys. All 4 of them are worthy participants and are in that worthy company of winning the Heisman Trophy. But I do have to say, I was a little bit surprised, especially by one of them. Max Duggan, no problem him being there, and obviously he also was on my Heisman Trophy shortlist. Ohio State quarterback C.J. Stroud, no beef with that at all. He also was on my, he was not on my Heisman Trophy shortlist, but he seems to be on everybody's. USC quarterback Caleb Williams, I'm totally fine with that as well. He was on my short list. But the one that really I'm surprised with, guys, and taking nothing away from what he has accomplished, and his numbers are legit, they just don't pop out like the others do. But I'll be the first to say this. The Heisman Trophy should not just be about who has the best numbers, guys, right? If that's the case, then where the hell was Bailey Zappi last year? You know, setting not 1, but 2 NCAA records for passing yards in a season and touchdown passes in a season. And just like this year, if that's the case as far as numbers or records, then why isn't Troy linebacker Carlton Marshall on here, a guy who just set a new record for most career tackles in a career? So the thing is, it's a lot more goes into just the numbers and the records, but also what sort of leader are they? What sort of teammate? Do they represent their program, their schools, the universities, the communities, the alums, the fans properly? And that's why I think this guy has a legitimate reason to be on this list, and that's Georgia quarterback Stetson Bennett. But I am surprised that he was one of the Final Four, because like I said, his numbers aren't great. They're solid, they're good, and nobody can deny what he's accomplished along with the Georgia Bulldogs the last 2 seasons. But for me, it would make more sense to me, and something that I would be able to get further behind if it was like Grammys or the Oscars where they give a Lifetime Achievement Award. I mean, what he has accomplished, especially, guys, remember, he is a former walk-on. He already has 1 national title to his credit. They are the defending national champions, and right now they have flexed all season like Lou Ferrigno and Arnold Schwarzenegger of old. They are hands down the best team in the nation, and no matter who it is, whether it's Ohio State, Michigan, or TCU in the playoffs, whatever those teams face off with Georgia, they're going to have to earn it. Because to be the best, you got to beat the best. And to be the man, you got to beat the man. And Georgia absolutely is the best team in the nation this season from start to finish. But I was surprised about Stetson Bennett. Please, guys, comment. Let me know what you think. Are you as surprised as I am that Stetson Bennett made the final cut? If there's somebody else, I'd love to hear also what your Heisman Trophy shortlist is. Let me know who your finalists would have been. Please comment, like, share, subscribe. I want to hear from you. Please get involved. Let your voice be heard. And I want it. I want to hear from you. I'm all about hearing from you, the college football fan, the viewer, on the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. Now, I'm going to go ahead and turn my attention to my Heisman Trophy shortlist, because this is my opinion, and obviously I'm going to state reasons in my case why I think these 4 should have been the official invitees to NYC. Already talked about quarterback Max Duggan. I mean, he received the invite. He was on my list, as was USC quarterback Caleb Williams. Now, the other 2 individuals, all right, granted, I don't think these 2 should be punished because their seasons have ended via injury. I mean, nobody ever wishes that to happen, right? Nobody ever says, oh my goodness, I hope I get injured. We never want that. I never want to see anybody, none of these young men, ever go through injury. One of the most dreaded words that an athlete or a person can hear their entire life, whether you're in athletics or not. But I'm going to start off with Michigan running back Blake Corum. Now, in 2 weeks ago, when Michigan went to the Horseshoe and took care of business against their arch rival, the Ohio State Buckeyes, Blake Corum only had 2 rushing attempts and then did not see the field. They were both very early in the first quarter because he was coming off of an injury the week before at home against Illinois. So he tried to go in the biggest game of the year for Michigan and ended up being one of the biggest games, if not the biggest game in college football all season. But the thing is, they still didn't really need him. So I understand why some people say, well, Blake Corum, unfortunately, I think, or we believe that maybe he was kind of expendable. A guy who we know can ball out, he's uber talented. But look, they still steamrolled Ohio State. They had no problem with them. And Blake Corum did have surgery a week ago. He is not going to be available for the college football playoffs. So I understand why some people would say that. Well, look, they still flexed and still got it done. But I believe without Blake Corum this season, guys, he's the main reason that put Michigan in that position, taking nothing away from the Maize and Blue. I mean, they are, and I've been saying this for weeks upon weeks, guys, they are one of, if not the most balanced team in the nation. Offensively, defensively, and from a special team standpoint. But Blake Corum is their best player, and he, to me, is the guy who really just kept the train moving down the tracks. He was their best player, put them in a position to be in the college football playoff, so I still believe he should have been rewarded. And plus, overall, I think he is the best running back in the nation. Nothing against Bijan Robinson at Texas or Chase Brown there at Illinois, taking nothing away from the other great running backs, Mo Ibrahim at Minnesota, but Blake Corum was overall the best running back in the nation. So I think he should have still been included. And the other one, Tennessee quarterback Hendon Hooker. I think it's undeniable, guys, that when he was healthy, Hendon Hooker is hands down, or I should say was the best player in the nation. Electric, the way he led that Tennessee offense like a great composer in front of the orchestra, very John Williams-like. I mean, absolute stud. Now, unfortunately, down the stretch, he did get injured, tore an Achilles, so it's very unfortunate that he couldn't finish out the season. And that happened late in the season against South Carolina on the road, a game in which Tennessee got absolutely butt-whipped by the South Carolina Gamecocks. He left injured late in that game, I believe in the third quarter. So some people would maybe say, well, if he would have stayed in, they could have maybe won that game. But at the time when he left, they were in a pretty significant hole on the scoreboard. So I don't really buy that argument. And they did suffer a loss a couple weeks previous to that in that big showdown in the SEC East with Georgia. So at that time when he left, he did suffer 2 losses. And that's what Tennessee ended up the season with, 10-2. But there is no doubt, guys, that he was the best player in football up until that moment. I mean, look what he did. Under his leadership, they go to LSU, does Tennessee, and absolutely dismember and dismantle the SEC West champions, LSU, down in Baton Rouge. And then, of course, that epic walk-off win, field goal, when he helped drive the field with under a minute to go to knock off the GOAT, Nick Saban in Alabama. And then plus putting a kicking on their traditional SEC East rival, Florida, in Knoxville as well. I just think from watching, he was the best player this season in college football. That's just my opinion, but obviously it did ended up costing him. And I'll let you know, I'm going to go ahead and predict who I think should win the Heisman Trophy. And I'll give you my Heisman Trophy winner as well for my short list. Now, spoiler alert, that may or may not be the same person, so you got to tune in. So, finally, what I'm going to do, before I give you my projected Heisman Trophy winner and kind of make a reason for why I think it should be, I'm going to share with you my initial 4 Heisman Trophy finalists that I shared with you during my preseason episode, my bold predictions for the 2022 season. So initially preseason, before kickoff, before anything was known, these were my preseason Heisman Trophy candidates. In alphabetical order, Ohio State running back Travion Henderson, who really fought injury the entire year, never really got going there at Ohio State. And obviously they didn't really need him, but could have used his talents, absolutely. But that didn't pan out for me. Next was Tennessee quarterback Hendon Hooker. I told you guys he was going to be a sleeper Heisman Trophy candidate, and I told you how high I was on the Tennessee Volunteers coming into this season. Next was Ohio State quarterback C.J. Stroud. Yes, I did have 2 Heisman Trophy candidates from the same team. And last but not least, I did have my last pick was the reigning Heisman Trophy champion, Alabama quarterback Bryce Young. Things just didn't quite go his way this season because of the 2 losses. He just was outplayed, even though he was magical at times, guys. I mean, his escapability in some of those games, guys, was absolutely epic. I mean, instant classic. I mean, you're not going to see that again for a while from a quarterback. So that was my preseason Heisman Trophy candidates. So now, when I look at the current 4 finalists, who do I think should win? Well, Georgia quarterback Stetson Bennett, I already said his numbers are good. They're legit. But I just think because of, Georgia's been the best team the last 2 years, maybe they're trying to reward the best player on their team. So I don't think he has the strongest case to me. USC quarterback Caleb Williams, here is going to be, and more than likely, I think he's probably going to win the hardware because when it comes down to it, guys, the age of football we live in, the times that we're in, it's all about offense. That's what we fall in love with. That's the sexy thing to get behind. And Caleb Williams has those numbers, guys. I think he probably will end up winning the Heisman. Now, I'm not saying that he's my winner. You got to stay tuned just a couple minutes longer. But Caleb Williams, if you look at just numbers, he absolutely probably does deserve it. And also, that gutty performance he gave us definitely helps him in the Pac-12 title game Friday night against Utah. Definitely suffered a hamstring injury, but he stayed in the game, tried to rally USC, but just couldn't do it. It was Utah's nights, and I said this. The way Utah played that night, they could have competed and beat anybody in the country. I don't think it would have mattered if Caleb Williams would have stayed healthy through that game. Ohio State quarterback C.J. Stroud, another one of those reasons why I think he is probably one of the 2 winners of this award because of the numbers. His completion percentage, lack of interceptions. But the thing, too, it helps that his running game was really non-existent this season. So he basically had to air it out to put Ohio State in position to get into the playoffs, which they were able to get the at-large bid, even after that loss against Michigan. But to me, the guy who really was the bell cow, the go-to player for Ohio State was wide receiver, no, not Jackson Smith-Njigba, who was banged up most of the year, but Marvin Harrison Jr. And if I had to put one offensive player other than quarterback or running back on my short list, it would have absolutely been Marvin Harrison Jr. I think hands down the best wide receiver this season in the nation. So that's what I have a little bit of an issue with C.J. Stroud for. How much of it was his players around him than him himself? Him himself. That's right, guys. First time watching. I don't do any edits. I don't do any walkthroughs. I don't do any dress rehearsals because that sounds like work. And me, I already have a legitimate day job. I'm a father of 2. I've got a lot on my plate already. This is strictly a hobby, and what a hobby it is for me to be here with you every week sharing my love and passion for all things college football. And please, subscribe, like, share, comment. I want to hear from you. So my winner, the Heisman Trophy, if I was the one who was handing it out, would be the final person that I have not mentioned. And it sealed the deal for me on conference championship weekend in that gritty, gutty, I'm going to leave everything on the field performance, even in loss. But that's fine because Kansas State is a fine team, hands down a top. To me, they should have been the first team out. I think they're that good as long as the rest of the Big 12. But I've got to give it to the man, to me, who's been the most consistent, who has risen to the occasion, who has been able to find ways for his team to win. And plus, what a great story. Coming into the season, he wasn't even the projected starter at TCU. That's right. The Heisman Trophy winner, to me, is TCU quarterback Max Duggan. If you watch the Big 12 title game, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Guy left everything on the field, tried to will that team to victory, and his numbers are really, really good, guys. But all year long, they have primarily been a second half team. So when they needed a big play, Max Duggan was able to deliver and put his team basically in the college football playoff. Hands down, he is the most valuable player, most significant part of that team. And when I look at the final four candidates, guys, the person that means the most to their team also is quarterback Max Duggan. I think if you take him off that staff, are they a good team? I mean, yeah, they're probably a bowl-eligible team. 6, 7, maybe 8 wins, probably max. See what I did there? Max wins, Max Duggan. So, Max Duggan, congratulations. You are the winner of the Heisman Trophy this year from the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. Congratulations. All right. So that's my Heisman Trophy talk. Guys, let me know what you think. Subscribe, comment, like, share. Let me know who your final four Heisman Trophy candidates were. And also, who do you think deserves to win the coveted trophy this season? I want to hear from you. It's a personal challenge. Fans from all programs unite. I want to hear your voice. Comment away, fire away. I can't wait to hear from you guys. Now, as promised, a little bit of a bonus on this very special episode. I'm going to give you an update on the ongoing coaching carousel that is spinning but hasn't spun off the tracks quite yet, unlike last season, which we'll never see a coaching carousel like we saw last season, guys. We just never, ever will, at least in our lifetimes. So that being said, there has been a lot more movement than I initially anticipated coming into this season and seeing how the season unfolded. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to share with you some of those moves just to make sure that you're in the know. And I'm going to try to start from the very first domino that fell. And that would be early this season after week 4, I believe, because they did have a week 0 game. I'm talking about Nebraska head coach Scott Frost. He was terminated, let go of his post, and last week, Nebraska hired former Baylor and Temple head coach and brought him in from the NFL. I'm talking welcome to Lincoln, Coach Matt Rule, getting paid $9 million a year. I don't quite know if I'm fine with that, but I think that's going to be the new normal thanks to the fraud down in College Station, Texas, the man who started these ridiculous salaries every season, pulling the con of all cons, Jimbo Fisher. But welcome, Matt Rule, to the Big Ten. Next was Arizona State. Coming into the year, Herm Edwards was on the hot seat. He was released, I believe, week 5, somewhere around that, after a loss against Eastern Michigan. So Herm Edwards is out. Just this week, Arizona State hired Kenny Dillingham, former Oregon offensive coordinator. So welcome to the, well, not welcome to the Pac-12, but I believe this is his first coaching job. So best of luck to you, Kenny Dillingham. Next was Georgia Tech. Coming into the season, Coach Jeff Collins needed to win and win now. He did not. He was let go, and he was replaced on an interim basis by Brent Key. But congratulations, Georgia Tech did name Brett Key the head coach moving forward. So congratulations to you, Coach Key. Next was Colorado. The Buffaloes midseason let Carl Durrell go. Really struggled at his time there in Boulder. And just this past week, huge news, earth-shaking, earth-quaking news. Who do they hire to replace him? But the man himself, prime time. Coach Deion Sanders leaves Jackson State from the FCS and arrives in Boulder to take over Colorado. I'm going to have more on that here in a little bit. So welcome to the FBS Power 5 level, Coach Prime. Then was Wisconsin, the Badgers. And after a couple of seasons of being mediocre, especially by their standards, midseason they said goodbye to Coach Paul Christ. Interim coach was Jim Leonard. He did not get the full-time job moving forward. In a huge announcement a week ago, give or take, they hired from Cincinnati Coach Luke Fickell, who comes back to the Big Ten, former assistant and head coach at Ohio State. Welcome to the Big Ten, Luke Fickell, and what a big hire that is. I'll have more on that here in a little bit. Next was the saga down in Auburn, basically very days of our life-ish. Like sands through the hourglass. So is the coaching job at Auburn University. They finally let go of Brian Harsin, which I thought they tried to do everything they could last season to make that happen. They couldn't. They just waited to the opportune moment, like Captain Jack Sparrow would say. And a week ago, they hired their man, the person they wanted, I think, going into last season. Hugh Freeze leaves Liberty and comes back to the SEC. Good hire there. I've got more to say about that. After all, a man who has defeated the GOAT, Nick Saban, several times at his time when he was the head coach at Ole Miss. Next is the Cincinnati. Cincinnati, kind of recently, obviously, they had to replace Luke Fickell, who jumped ship for Wisconsin. They hire from Louisville Coach Scott Satterfield, to me, which is kind of at least a lateral move, going from the ACC to Cincinnati, which is about to join the Big 12. So best of luck there, Coach Satterfield at Cincinnati. The aforementioned Liberty Flames, they had to replace Hugh Freeze. They went out and replaced him with kind of a little bit of a surprise, and I'll talk more about it. Jamie Chadwell, the former head coach at Coastal Carolina, and good hire there. And I'll talk more about that. I'm going to share with you my best and also my most complexing or perplexed hires, like what? Here shortly when I'm done. So he takes over the Liberty program, does Coach Jamie Chadwell. Coastal Carolina, having to replace Jamie Chadwell, they bring in Tim Beck, former offensive coordinator from NC State. The Wolfpack, he gets his first opportunity as a head coach. Best of luck, Coach Beck. Louisville, having to then replace Scott Satterfield, going to Cincinnati. And this was a big-time shock. This just happened this week, a few days ago. Didn't see this one coming, guys. That's right. Jeff Brom, off of a Big Ten West Division championship at Purdue, is going back home to Louisville, his alma mater. He was a former quarterback at Louisville, assistant coach. So he leaves the Big Ten for Louisville in the ACC. Like I said, big-time shock there. I did not see that one coming. Last year, potentially, I did see that coming into last year's season, but not this year. So right now, Purdue has not yet hired or named a new head coach, so they are right now leaderless. Also is Stanford. About a week and a half ago, longtime coach David Shaw, who's been there, I believe, 12 years, down in Palo Alto, resigned. They've had a few down seasons there at Stanford, but overall the success for him, he took over what Jim Harbaugh had cooking, the foundation that Coach Kaki's put there, and David Shaw took them to new heights. He is the winningest coach in Stanford program history. So right now Stanford is also leaderless. And a couple of big names return to the coaching ranks. I had to share these with you. Florida Atlantic, FAU, earlier last week fired Willie Taggart, former coach at Oregon and Florida State, a guy who never really could get a break. I mean, Florida State, I think, was not on him. They weren't patient with him. But I think that culture, that locker room, that program was completely just in ruin and destroyed by the fraud himself, Coach Jimbo Fisher, former coach at Florida State. So who replaces him but former Texas and Houston coach Tom Herman? Welcome back to college football, Coach Herman. Best of luck there at FAU. And now, finally, UNLV, who this week fired Marcus Arroyo, and they bring back Coach O. That's right, former Missouri coach Barry Odom, who has spent the last few seasons as Arkansas's DC. He gets back on the sidelines as a head coach. Welcome back, Barry Odom, to the college football head coaching ranks. So that's awesome. Surprising news and great news there for one of Missouri's most favorite coaches and one of their native sons. Just didn't work out well at the helm there in Como for our Tigers. So that's up to date as far as the coaching carousel. Now, quickly, I'm going to share with you a couple of puzzling hirings to me. When I look at, I think one that is really Liberty replacing Hugh Freeze with Jamie Chadwell. Jamie Chadwell, guys, the thing to me, at best, this is a lateral move for Jamie Chadwell, who has really helped bring up to national recognition, bolster Sunbelt powerhouse now, Coastal Carolina. The last 3 seasons, he's been in talks as far as getting a Power 5 job. That's why I was very surprised by this lateral move by Jamie Chadwell. That was really one of the biggest shockers to me, guys. It just was. I thought he would at least hold out for a Power 5 opportunity, because he kept being rumored at it the last 3 years, because that team is a darling now in the Sun Belt, is Coastal Carolina. So a little bit of a head scratcher there for Jamie Chadwell, taking the Liberty job for me. And the biggest is surprise, is not Coach Deion Sanders getting a Power 5 job, but going to Colorado. No offense, Colorado Buffalo fans, but they're awful. Why would you go to a program that is in utter just turmoil? They are bottom of the barrel. I mean, I understand it's only up from here. It can't get much worse there in Boulder. But to not hold out, but go to Colorado, that is the most shocking coaching hire to me. I am really making sense of this for Coach Prime. I definitely think he could have maybe just held out for maybe a more suitable opportunity at a team that's not in such a worse position, because they are in one of the worst positions as a Power 5 program of anybody, is Colorado. So very surprised by that hire, or Deion Sanders going there. Now, my best hires, I'm going to start off with Hugh Freeze going to Auburn. I mean, like I said, a guy who's had success in SEC territory. He knows the landscape. He knows how to recruit in the SEC conference and has had some success, like I stated, against Nick Saban in Alabama. Very good hire there. Another one, I think Jeff Brom going to Louisville. The way that he schemes, the mad scientist that he is on offense, I think that's going to pay dividends for Louisville, because the ACC right now is all about offense. Defense is really kind of secondary, optional for most of those teams. So I love that hire. But my favorite hire, hands down, has to be Wisconsin, bringing in Luke Fickell, a guy who is a proven winner. All he does is win. And for the most part, they got him kind of on the cheap. I believe they're paying him $7, maybe $8 million a year. So, and Wisconsin traditionally is not one of those programs that pays buku bucks for coaches. So they really got him on the cheap for the most part. All right. So I think that is hands down the best coaching hire of this season so far. Wisconsin getting Luke Fickell. So guys, that's today's episode. Thanks for staying with me here. Please let me know what you think. I can't wait to hear from you, the Black and Gold family, college football fans alike. Comment, like, share, subscribe. I need your support. And I'd like to say thank you for that support and for everything that you have done for the channel and will continue to do for the channel. Expect me next week. Ooh, little sneeze coming on there. Bless me. Next week, I am going to have an updated episode going through the updated transfer portal, which is absolutely ridiculous, out of control. And then maybe we'll talk a little bit about, is the transfer portal good or bad for college football? So I'll probably be back next Monday or Tuesday. So until then, guys, look for me then. Enjoy the rest of your week, the weekend. Be safe, have fun, enjoy your families, enjoy your friends, and please comment. I cannot wait to hear from you. So until next week, guys, thank you for all you do and joining me on this episode today of the Touchdown Black and Gold Vlog. See you next week. Bye-bye.